was some pish rogue that you wouldn't give anybody. You give away your good luck or something, or if you give away a cow, or if you give away milk or something like that. I never heard my father going over, but I never took that much attention, heed to it. He didn't believe in it, but he had heard it when he was young, Like you're giving away your luck by doing things like that.
Yeah, they used to skim the well of a man more.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And yeah. No, but it was a mass Pat went in right at the back of our place and used to go to where we call the back of the hill of Armoni. And there's another one used to go in by Billy Swan, Joe Swans. And I'd say if you examine the ditches, you could find a style here and there, still. There's no sign of the Pats there now, but they were used up till 20 years ago, I'd say. I remember people coming to school, being Pat and Bid where he came across there from the Black Bug to school for a few years, and sure the Egan's all came
across the fields
there, and the Laffins came from 2 or 3 miles across the fields out there to school here in Galbally.
The Burns of Curtin Bull came across out to Brendan Murphy's Lane and up the road. Yeah. There was a couple of styles on that. One anyhow. Everybody walked that time to school.
Walked home again.
And all the chaps wore short trousers.
Fine.
No such things as long trousers. You get long trousers when you be confirmed. That'd be about it. You were away then.
And no shoes either in the
summertime, yeah.
In the summer.
And the roads weren't tarmac like they are now. They were, I remember the road being tarmac, our road, when I was young, going to school.
Yeah.
It was only being chipped and tarred that time, and that was in the 50s.
In the old school, and we it was 1950. This
moved in here in 1950.
So I started school in 46, or 45 or 6.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I think the same. Yeah.
The first date I remember writing down was 1947. I remember writing, when you were starting a composition or somebody putting down the date, and that was the first date I remember.
Aye.
1947.
Yeah.
I never remember writing 1946. No.
Maybe you weren't able to write that time.
Well, I wasn't. Probably not. I don't remember it anyway.
Yeah. What area was wooded years and years ago. I remember as a small chap who wasn't going to school, and there was before I went to school there was the graveyard was full of trees, and it was and down the priest's house as it is now was full of trees. It was big trees, and there were big beech trees, and in the summertime the whole cross would be nearly met over. The schoolyard was full of trees.
Yeah.
And the cross was beautiful, I suppose, Yeah. But then Father Pendergast came, and Father Carty was there before that, and he was very bet up. He was used to going to. He had little baby Ford, as I say. He used to drive into them. He wasn't able to walk in from his house into the vestry to say mass, but he'd go in the little baby Ford, and he'd find him. He'd get in and say mass, and that's about all he was able to do. When we were small, but then Father Pendergast came, and he levelled the whole place. He took trees out, and the whole thing was. I remember a saw bench being up in the graveyard, and they were sawing into planks or whatever it was when I was going to school.
It was nearly all beach, I think, wasn't it?
All beach, yeah.
There was a few of them around. There was one over in Tom Wales now, where Mrs. Yans that time. And that was on it was in a rat.
Yeah.
It was a lone bush and a rat. And then there was another one on its own over in Breens, over in the Pint, what we used to call the Pint, over in Breens. And when nobody, even if a bit broke off, if there's nobody to bring it home to burn it, it's left there. Mourns had another rat, there's still there, and there's two trees. There was Sean, if you remember the one we were looking at. There's two skocks on this little bit of a ditch, and nobody ever touched those. Oh. Toddy Dillon used to be. Toddy was an old historian here. He's dead for 20 or 30 years now. He used to be talking about tunnels up around Marmoni, up around where the Blessed Well and the old churchyard. But I never. It was only Toddy's word I had for it. Well, that church was gone into very bad disrepair out here. It was only just a hole in the ground anyway, and cattle used to get into it, and there was a tractor after driving into it. So in '94, on Good Friday in '94, I decided that it was either pipe it out of it and close in the well, or put something permanent there, like, you know. So there was plenty of big stones left around, so I worked on it for a couple of days, and what's there now is what I put in it, like, you
know. Johnny Waters used to write stuff, but there was a fellow up in Avai, up in Kellystown. He used to write songs, but they were generally Mummer's Ball and things like that, you know.
He was the editor of the Nightingale. That was a paper.
Yeah.
That, I don't know how often it used to come out.
I don't know why.
Once a month or once a year. Or
the Nightingale.
No, it was Nightingale, and all the scandal of the whole country had been in it. In Kellystown, that'd be up in the parish of Adamstown, like, you know.
Yeah. Next parish.
Yeah.
He'd write these. He'd go to a Mummer's Ball and he'd write all the names, and a black. There was a black from Ballamorris and two sailors from the Dog. Was two, you know. Yeah. The sailors would be black with Ballamorris was a Dempsey, as it turned out. I don't know who the two sailors from the Dog were. Maybe Doyles or something like that, you know. And
this is a crane flew down from
Davistown. He had it Crooked Bill.
Hill.
Like buys two bottle washers from the Pussy Castle Hill. They were cures, Wiley cures.
Stuff like that.
And another one, when I saw the blind and lame, I thought I was a knock. That's another line in some other one. That a dance you went to was people on crutches, and when I saw the blind and lame, I thought it was a knock. It wasn't very complimentary to the house. And so he had a Crooked Bill, that's right, yeah.
He told us he saw it.
You were talking about cures a minute ago. There was a lady over in Ballamackesy, which is near Clonroach, and she used to do cures for worms in children, everybody. But used to use herbs and make up a mixture. It wasn't very tasty now. But you had to say prayers as well, as far as I remember now. But people believe me, people travel all over the county to her years ago, yeah. She's dead now, and I think the cure's probably dead as well. But she used to make a mixture of herbs and water, and it wasn't very nice. But I think you had to say prayers as well. I don't know whether that was part of it or not now, but it was there for years. People travelled from all over. There's one someplace down here where the dip tub used to be on the main, John Welch's place. There was one there for years now. I don't know whether it's there still or not.
The main.
That's the only one I knew around Wexford Road. Yeah. But they're very prominent in Waterford. There's lots of them, and they're still there, and they're preserved. They put but they were the ones I saw there were just a stone about that width and about that height. I don't know what there was anything written on them or not now. We're not sure. But the ones in Waterford were big affairs, you know.
You'd see them there when you're driving to Cork, you'd see them on the right hand side.
Yeah, you see them on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a few on there was a couple on the Barntown Road, who I can't tell you where they were, but you used to see them going to town years ago.
There's one as you're coming into Castle Bridge as well from the outward side. There's one there still.
One, yeah.
I tell you what, there's stone. I have one at home at the house at the moment, but I got up on the top of the hill. It was came out of an old building that was up on the top of the hill Barmoni, like a crow's foot.
And nobody knew who Andy was. Nobody knew who Andy was.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you're talking about Andy's Lane. Everybody knows Andy's Lane, but nobody knows who
Andy was.
Andy was. You know.
Yeah.
You see.
We use ever told as well about a fella being